Welcome to Let's Go Outside, a podcast bringing moms together to chat about the raw, unfiltered reality of doing the exploring we love after having kids. No matter your comfort level of adventuring with the little ones, this is a space to have honest conversations about the real struggles of getting out the door with the kiddos. I'm Danica, a mama living in a small mountain town who's totally obsessed with healthy food and taking my kids outside every single day. I professionally guided backpacking trips in the Canadian Rockies, and I'm certified as a Leave No Trace instructor. On the show, you'll hear real experiences from other moms, plus tips on gear, trail snacks, and the best practices in the wilderness. Whether it's hiking, camping, backpacking, skiing, or traveling the world you want to do more of, this is your place to learn, find encouragement, and strip away any comparison. Come embrace both motherhood and the outdoors. Stick around. This is your place. Welcome to the Outdoor Mom Club. Hello, I am so excited to welcome Kirsty Pardede to the Let's Go Outside podcast today. Kirsty and her husband Hardin are climbers and parents traveling Europe with their two kids, climbing as a family, living their dream of a simple, off-grid outdoor family life on the road in their self-built camper. They are living their passion as climbers, sharing it with their kids, and trying to show them as much of the world as they can while juggling work, education, and laundry. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. Good job on the pronunciation of my name.
Working on names still.
It's all right, don't worry.
Give us the inside scoop. Tell us who's in your family and what does life look like these days?
Well, there's me, Kirsty, and Hardin, my husband, and we have two kids. Arlo just turned 7 and Aya is 5.5. And we have Marley, our crazy golden retriever. And we currently, our van is our home at the moment. And yeah, like you said, we're full-time traveling Europe and climbing. Yeah, with the kids.
That's so cool.
Life is chaos.
Was this something that you dreamed about for a long time and had to save up for, or were you kind of at a spot where you could work online and it just kind of fit and it worked out?
Yeah, well, yeah, we a wee bit of both, to be honest. It's something that we dreamt about. I mean, Hard and I have been climbers for over 20 years, and it's how we met. And I think we'd always kind of thought that, you know, it'd be really cool we did van life like, I don't know, 20 years ago when it was just dirt bags and, you know, and it wasn't cool to do it. And then obviously I don't think kids and marriage were really on the cards at that point, but at some point I think we thought it'd be really cool to do with a family, but everyone says, oh, you can't really, it will be done, you know, like that part of your life will be over once you have kids. And then, yeah, we got married, we had kids, and we tried the conventional, we both had careers, and then it just wasn't really our bag. So we decided to completely change our life. And Hardin, we joke that he's poor retired because he retired from his career as an NDT engineer, but we're not rich. And we both still work, but we just reshaped our life so that we could travel full time and be in the van and homeschool the kids. So yeah, and we had some savings, but then life we ate into our savings, but when we did it anyway, we were just disheartened with our alternative. So yeah, it was a bit of a mix of both.
So it's kind of for the foreseeable future. This is it. You're going to see how it goes. Take it one day at a time. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, we kind of even fell into full-time travel accidentally. We used to live in Indonesia, and when we decided to leave and we actually wanted to move to Spain. All our stuff from our house in Indonesia is in storage in Spain, waiting for the day that we hopefully buy some land and make a little off-grid home. That's kind of our long-term plan. But then we started traveling and we just really enjoy it. And the kids are still quite young and they've always been homeschooled. So yeah, at the moment, this is the plan, at least for the next year or so. And then we'd like to make another home base, but we are quite nomadic personalities. So I can imagine even if we make a home base, we still want to travel. That's a good thing about Europe. You can have a home base and you can still travel because everything's so close.
It's so true. Yeah. Yeah. Like we were talking before we recorded, about being in Turkey. You were there and I was there last year, but
Like
so many
in
of
the
the
night.
vans, so many of the vans were from all over Europe, right? Like you could just drive there. And we were, wow, that opens up so many possibilities, especially for climbers.
Especially for climbers, it is. It's a bit trickier for us now because of Brexit. We're not European citizens anymore, but that's why Turkey is a good option because you can pop out for a few months and come back in again. But as a climber, Europe, it's got it all, eh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So were your kids born in Indonesia?
They were actually born in Scotland, and then we moved out there when Aya was only like a few weeks old. So but they were both born here, and then they were raised out there.
Beautiful. Yeah. I think it's so, when you can bring kids along at a young age, I think you just figure out parenting when they're young with them, right? Like it can sometimes get a bit harder when we leave those trips or living international or even in a van till later, but this is the perfect age, isn't it?
Yeah. And they don't know any different. It's all they've ever known. So
that's so good. Do you have a family motto or a core motivation that helps you decide where you're gonna live in the van, or like where you're gonna go to next, or how do you kind of pick where you're gonna go?
We're so unorganized. I wish I could say that we had a plan. We don't have a plan. We are both. Most people marry the opposite of themselves. Like you have one that's really unorganized. You see those like jokey reels on Instagram of the people that's like, the wife plans and the husband goes along. Well, we are both terrible planners, and we do everything on a whim, including like moving to Indonesia, traveling in a van. Like, it was all kind of a rough, like, oh, should we do that? Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Let's just do that. We're very bad planners. And when you asked as well about, is there like a family motto? We don't really have a family motto, but I think we're just both of us are very much like, oh, we'll just give it a try. Like, it'll be fine. Like, it'll work out in the end. And if it hasn't worked out, then it's not the end yet. Like, we'll just go for it and see what happens.
And that's why you can make it work, right? Like you've kind of crafted this thing out for your family that you are both is your strengths. Like, like you're kind of, and I think that's so beautiful. Like you're passing that to your kids. Like you guys are like, we're good at this, so we're going to try this for a season.
Yeah. And it's all attitude. I think when people say about full-time traveling or being in a van, there's a misconception that you must have. I mean, we don't own a home, like we haven't got a house, like we don't rent anything, like we don't have a lot of money. We are like every family that is like making ends meet. We just chose to do it in a van in such a way that we could have like full-time family time and adventures. And I think that people think that you need to, for whatever your dream life looks like, save up like a ton of money. And maybe some people do, and maybe they make that work. But what we found was that we were basically just spending our life trying to save money to live our dream, and we weren't really getting anywhere. So we just kind of jumped. And I think that people think that in order to live your dreams, you need a ton of money. And while you obviously have to figure out the money side for yourself, I think from all the people that we've met and from our own experience as well, it's 100% mentality and mindset. Like you have to have the kind of character that is like, I am going to go for this and we will figure it out. Like, you'll never, it's like having kids. There is no perfect time, but you just do it and you muddle through. And I think that, people are focusing on the wrong thing if they're just thinking about the money. You have to figure that out, but you have to have the right mindset. And you kind of have to hopefully be with somebody that has the same mindset. So,
wow. Yeah. I totally believe that. When we were road tripping in 2020 Canada, we met a family of 5 living in a Sienna van, like a smaller like caravan. And they were so brilliant. If they ever listen to this, I wish they would email me, but they had like
so you could get them on.
9-year-olds and a 10-year-old, and they had taken all the seats out of their van, and the dad was the driver, and they just had a roof box for all their stuff, and they all just sat on the back of the car of the van.
Yeah.
And they said, you know what? We're not going to stop having a nice Sprinter van from us doing this trip. Like, I would love that. Yeah. But we're not going to let that stop us. So we're going to go do this. And brilliant. And that changed. Like, we were so inspired by them.
I think that is the mentality. And I know that for a lot of people, the way like that family or the way that we live would be their idea of hell, like a small
Hey.
space, chaos with small children. But I think that life is hard. All of life is hard. The world seems to have forgotten that. Like sometimes it is easy, but it is hard. You just have to pick your heart. You just have to choose which is the sacrifices that you're willing to make for the life that you want. And that looks different for all of us, you know, like for us, it's like, okay, this is quite hard and, you know, juggling work and home education and travel and kids and, you know, but the payoff is the life that we get is what we want, you know, it works for us. So yeah, just have to
Totally.
pick your heart.
Wow. I'm so inspired by the homeschool aspect also, because that is definitely like that's coming up for me. And I'm like, whoa, I don't know how to add that to the mix.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Are
Well,
you finding that?
Figure it out, then you tell me.
Okay.
Trying to figure it out. Yeah, we haven't got all the answers. Yeah, we love it. The kids love it. We regularly check in with them. Do you want to go in normal school? And they're like, no. They're like, no, we love they love homeschool. But I think that any homeschool parent you talk to probably feels that they're not doing enough and they have all their worries, and we're exactly the same. You know, we just kind of figuring it out as we go. And yeah.
Do you incorporate a lot of travel and day-to-day life into their learning objectives?
Yeah, we do. We try to, although it's not always worked out. We went past Athens and Rome and and we were like, oh, we were going to take the kids because we had done stuff about ancient Greece. But then, a long story short, it's not that easy to go into these big cities when you've got a van and you need to find somewhere to put it. So we ended up not. We didn't go, but we did go to Istanbul and see some stuff there. But yeah, we do try to incorporate a bit. And obviously, like a lot of our travels are centered around climbing and hiking and nature. So we tend to go to mountains and climbing areas. But there's always opportunities there for history and nature and geography and stuff that we can incorporate a wee bit into school.
Love that. That's what I'm hoping to do, but we'll see. I think it'll just be one at a time.
Yeah, that is exactly how it is for us. I thought homeschooling was never really a plan for us before we had kids. You know, I would go as far as admitting that I was probably somebody that was like, homeschooling is weird. Like, you know, I would be all those misconceptions that people talk about homeschoolers. I was probably somebody that believed that. And then when our time came and we had kids, it just felt like it was a good choice for us. And I thought that I wanted to be that homeschool mum with the Pinterest like organization and everything laminated, and we are not. Like, we are focused on reading and numbers and then subjects, and we're just literally every week figuring it out as we go, which I used to worry about, but then I speak to other families with older kids and it feels like a lot of people are the same. So if anybody's homeschooling wants to homeschool, if that makes them feel better, then yeah, I think we're all in the same boat.
Thank you for sharing that. That's
yeah, it might help you if you decide to go that way.
Tell us about climbing. How did you get into climbing? And I know that you have talked about you've taken a break and you've come back. So I would love to hear if you'd be willing to share about that. If you're looking to hit your protein goals, balance your blood sugar levels, and energize your day, I have just the recipes for you. I have compiled the top high protein snack recipes from my food blog into a mini e-cookbook. They're easy to make with whole food ingredients. Many of the recipes include nuts, hemp hearts, or eggs as the main source of protein. To get this free ebook, go to besidethemountain.com/protein-ebook or check out the show notes below. Are you looking for the perfect winter boots that keep little toes cozy without weighing them down? I have been loving Jan and Jewel boots the last couple of years for my boys. They are fleece lined, totally waterproof, insulated, and they can put these boots on by themselves. Jan and Jewel has an awesome selection of outdoor clothing, jackets, especially for rain or for winter, footwear, mittens. I love their sun hats. I especially love their extra small mittens. Don't have a thumb hold for my little guy. Let's Go Outside listeners get 10% off by using the code LGO10. I'm leaving the affiliate link in the show notes. If you click that link, I will get a small percentage of whatever you purchase with no extra charge to you. So check out this Canadian company. I've been loving it, and I think you will too.
Funnily enough, I got into climbing in Canada when I was 17. I went my very first time traveling solo when I was 17. My gran had passed away. She left me a little bit of money. And I said to my parents I wanted to go and travel. So I was 17 and I went to Canada. And I was traveling solo, but I was backpacking and then sort of stopping in. We've got some family in Canada, like some distant relatives that I had visited when I was younger. So I kind of went between some of their houses and their friends' houses and stuff. And then, a friend took me out to climb, and that's how I got into climbing. I came back, and then all the rest is kind of history.
Do you know where it was in Canada?
It was in Nanaimo in Vancouver Island in British Columbia,
wow.
which is, I don't even think it's a particularly impressive climbing area. I don't know if it's particularly well known, but yeah, it was there. And they hadn't even been climbing that long, and they set up some top ropes and I really liked it. So then I came back and then looked up the closest climbing center so I could go and learn properly. And then the whole thing kind of went from there. And that was like over 20 years ago.
Wow.
And then I met Harden through that not long after, maybe like a year or so after. We'd been together a really long time and we were friends, and he took me out, and he was an experienced climber, and kind of climbing became my life. I think for a lot of people, especially outdoor passions, like it kind of almost takes over your entire life, and then it sort of dictates, or for us it did anyway. And the kind of identity kind of gets wrapped up in that and a lot of the decisions that we made. So then we went off and traveled the world and climbed and dirt bagged and had a van, and we traveled all over. And I think at some point after we got married and decided to have kids, we kind of started to listen to what people had said. You know, when I remember when I got pregnant, and people were like, "Oh well, that'll be that done. Like, you know, you won't be able to climb with a baby," and you know, and I think I kind of started to believe that we did have to, we can't travel. We can't travel. We can't travel the way that we were before. Yeah. So, I kept climbing when I was pregnant with both Arlo and Aya, like right up until I gave birth. And then not with Aya, but with Arlo, I kept climbing after I had him. But then I got pregnant with Aya quite within about 10 or 11 months of having Arlo. And then with Aya, that's when we decided we were going to go to Indonesia. And I just kind of accidentally ended up taking about nearly 5 years off from climbing after I had her. And then it was actually when we came back from Indonesia in 2023 that I started climbing again. I think I've maybe climbed like 2 or 3 times in the whole time that I had from when Aya was little. And then I only really started back about a year and a half ago, I guess. So yeah.
How was that coming back to it?
It was hard. It was hard being away from it, but I don't know. A part of me feels, I think I shelved a little part of myself that time because I was like, well, I'm not a big fan of climbing inside. Like I've always enjoyed climbing outdoors and only ever really saw climbing inside as training. And it was too hard to do it in Indonesia for lots of reasons. So I kind of put that part away. And knew that, I can have time with the kids. I can be a mum and have them as babies, and I'll always be there for me when I get back. But coming back to climbing, I think was hard because, like, physically from where I was, to then basically almost start physically, like from a strength point of view, kind of very close to, like being like a bit of a just completely starting from scratch was. Like for your ego, it was quite hard because I thought like, oh God, this feels really hard, and it used to feel quite easy, and mentally as well, I felt like it was harder, like to commit. And I'm still, even now, I find stuff. Sometimes I have to, like, I've been doing a lot more mental stuff now than I ever did previously. I don't know if that's to do with being a mum or it's been older or, But it was quite hard to come back. But now I feel like I'm pretty much back where I was. So it's fun. It's nice to go with the kids as well.
That's so special. What does that mental game look like? How do you, I know you, in one of your films, you said you have to warm up your head. You have to mentally warm up. Yeah.
sometimes I intend to mentally warm up my head and it doesn't just happen. I think a lot of it has to do as well with maybe where I am in my cycle as well, how bold I'm feeling, committing to taking falls, committing to pushing. I find that the thing for me has been committing right at my limit, and like going outside of my comfort zone when I'm right at my limit. But so it's just trying to take falls. I've been doing like mental training, Hazel Finley, she's a British climber. She has courses and like free resources and stuff. So I've been trying to follow stuff like that. And a long time ago, I read the book, The Rock Warrior's Way, which I still have a copy of. So things like that. But I'm also probably not very good at doing it consistently because I've got kids. So, I just try to commit. And also, as I want to climb hard because I enjoy climbing routes that feel hard for me. Like, I enjoy the challenge. But I also just want to have fun with my family at the moment. So sometimes I try to, if there's a project that I want to do that needs a wee bit of mental training, I try to do it, but I don't always manage to do things consistently because at the end of the day, I'm just happy now. I'd like to climb hard, but I just want to climb rocks and I want to spend time with the kids and I want them to enjoy it and I just want to be out there. So I kind of go backwards and forwards between, it's like trying to train mentally and physically and focus, and then other times just I don't really bother. I just want to be out there.
I think you have to. I think I don't.
Your priorities change, don't they? Once you become a mum, like I want to be out there and I want to do hard things for myself. I enjoy the challenge, but I also just want to. I'm happy just to be out there. If we just went out and did easy stuff for 300 meters, it would be fun. Better than the alternative. So
Yeah, I've been really struggling when they're kind of whiny because I have toddlers right now, and they'll
How
start
old are yours?
Clay is 2 and Koa is 4.
Oh, that's a lovely name, Koa. That's lovely.
Yeah, and they'll be whining, and I will be up there leading, so scared. And the thing that's been working for me lately is being like, Danica, you want to be here. You want to be on this rock, and you're gonna go down, and they're gonna try to, and they love it. But I don't know. Is there anything that you have been telling yourself when you're up there? Or, do you get distracted with your kids on the ground?
I don't really get distracted. I don't know. To be fair, we, as soon as we hear them start to go off, tend to bark at them to be like, hey, if there's other people there, so they don't, I don't know. It doesn't really distract me too much, but I think because a lot of the places that we climb as well, they've kind of grown up outside, and even though we've only really been properly taken and climbing this last year and a half, they're so used to being outside. I don't never really worry about them at the base, because even though Hardin's tied into the other end of the rope and they're kind of on their own, they've got some smarts. So I don't know. Does that make me a really bad mum to say that not really thinking of them when I'm up there? I'm not, because I know that Hardin's kind of watching me and kind of watching them, and they're a wee bit older as well now. I think it would have been, it might have been different when they were a lot younger, but I don't really get distracted.
I think that's probably a testament to how hard you climb.
No, I don't think, I don't know, or maybe that I'm very selfish. I don't know. I should be listening more for the kids. Yeah.
Aww. Okay.
When they're small as well, it is hard. Like, I think as yours get older, and they are, because 2 is still really little. Our 2 are already, if they need something, they mostly go off and get it for themselves.
Yeah. For us, usually one of them, like our 2-year-old, is usually sleeping at the bottom, and our 4-year-old usually playing with sticks or beads or something. And so it's usually when our 2-year-old wakes up, and I'm like, we better go get it, like, because he's in some bush that's decently far away because for rock issues, and so we're like,
of course,
I think that's like, I'm like, we better go get him.
It will. That as they get older, will just that will get easier. But ours are, like I said, 5.5 and 7. They're already it's like all seasons of parenthood, isn't it? Like, the stuff that's hard now won't be hard later. There'll be new hard. For us, the thing that's hard now is they're like, I want to climb, hurry up. Like, is it my turn to climb? Like, So we want to push hard, but we have to be considerate that they also want to climb. And, so 2B layers, 4 climbers, you don't get as much. That for us is the hard thing. But again, it's just nice to be out there.
Totally. And how did they fall in love with climbing? Or like they seem so stoked.
They are, yeah. Honestly, everyone should climb with kids because they have no ego. They're always psyched. Like, they just are happy to be outside and climb rocks and just do, even if they only climb one climb, a lot of adults could learn from like the really good attitude of kids, like when it comes to climbing. I think our two are just really psyched on climbing because we're psyched on it. I think it's like monkey see, monkey do, isn't it? A lot of the time with kids, like if we just have them out there and you give them the opportunity and, but really in the last 6 months, it's really taken off for the two of them because they're that bit older, before they would climb a bit and play. And yeah, I think it's because we are so much about it.
Yeah. That's so good. And in one of your films, Arlo was doing a little bit of leading.
Yeah, he's leading now.
How was that? How did that come to be?
Really, really good. Yeah, I just makes me so proud. He first asked to lead because obviously we both lead climb, and he wanted to lead from the get go, but we had to say, well, no, you have to. There's a lot more to it than And we said, maybe when you're 6, if you have enough experience, if you've climbed enough and you're actually climbing, and tried to explain the difference for leading. Anyway, by the time that just before his 6th birthday, I was in Turkey actually, was the very first time that he led. And then I think that was the very first time. And then he didn't really do it again. And then we were in Greece and then he started properly leading from then. I mean, like 4s and 5s, he leads. And he said he wanted to try it. So, it's sport climbing. So it's pretty safe. And it's stuff that's quite in his capability. And I think that because he was asking to do it, he feels like he could do it. So we thought, well, go on then, give it a shot. We're right there and we're very experienced. So, yeah, I mean, he's backed off stuff as well that it's kind of freaked him out, but
that's important.
Kind of given it is, yeah, it's important because he's very bold, but he's also, he gets scared as well, of course, like we all do. I think any climber that says that they don't get scared at some point is probably lying, so there's stuff he's backed off, and there's other times where it's like he's inspired me with his mental game. Like, I mean, he just turned 7, but I mean, like all last year when he was still 6, like to see him, because obviously, like, we're belaying or I'm up there, like, like being a mum, like proud mumming and taking a video or sometimes, maybe just being at the chain to make sure that, obviously he's not spreading the boat or anything, but just to make sure that he gets clipped in at the chain safe and just to see the process in his little head. Like of him, like sometimes get a bit freaked out, but then be calm. It's actually really inspiring to see, someone do that, especially a kid.
Does he make an anchor himself, or do you set that up for him, or is it usually?
Well, now, so because it's sport, there's usually like a chain at the top, and he just like whacks a couple of quick draws in. Yeah. And then in the last few months, he started putting his own, he wanted to put his own quick draws. And I think it was just a novelty of putting, climbing like mommy and daddy climb, like putting in the quick draws. So yeah, normally we get a bit of an idea before he does it. If it's something like we really at this point only getting him on to lead stuff if there is a chain at the top, If once we were in Greece, he couldn't reach the chain, bless his heart. There was a weird step at the top, like it kind of ended, but the chain was a lot higher and it was on a blank wall. They couldn't reach it, so we had to extend it for him. But yeah, he's just taking it slow and,
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then his sister cleans it, which is super cute. I mean, cleans it as in like she'll unclip and take all the quick draws out. We normally feed the boat or, we'll clean the chain. So yeah, I guess at some point in the future they'll need to learn to belay and then it'll be a very efficient day out.
That's nice. Yeah, that'll be so good.
Yeah, I'm excited for those days.
What's your favorite place that you've climbed with them?
The Dolomites. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we went there this year, which was the realization of a dream to go there as a family. And yeah, it was amazing. Yeah.
Was
We're
it?
going to Italy. You should go.
I know. I think we're going to be so close.
Yeah.
Was it the views or the type of climbing or where you could be with the kids? What was the best part about it?
Well, I think for me, so I love like doing big walls and being in the mountains. Like I mean, like from Scotland, you know, I haven't actually done any trad climbing in a really long time, but I really enjoy it. And I enjoy like multi-pitch, but we haven't done anything since we've had the kids. We've just been doing single pitch sport. Yeah. Which has been great. But I think the thing about the Dolomites, again, when we were there, we didn't do any multi-pitch. We did just sport climbing. But the thing that I enjoyed about it was it kind of gave me this feeling of like, because you're in the mountains, you know, even though you're just cragging, the scenery, you know, and the places that you're doing it gave me that kind of feeling. But with the ease of like a day at the crag, you know, just like doing sport climbing with the kids. So I really enjoyed it. And it's stunning. Like the Alps and and obviously the Dolomite, the big mountains are my heart and eyes, like first love as climbers. So yeah, it's a perfect place, you know. Hopefully we'll go back and do some multi-pitch with them at some point when they're a bit older.
Yeah. The multi-pitches are kind of on hold right now, I feel like.
Yeah, they are.
Like for us.
Yeah. At some point, hopefully someone will take the kid, because we're in Scotland for the next month. And obviously my parents are here. So we might have to, as the weather gets a wee bit better, leave the sprods with grandma and granddad, and maybe Hard and I could go and do something, just the two of us. It should be nice. But like I said, it's a season, isn't it, of life that you're in. You know, you've got kids and we try to do what we can and stuff that we want to do for us, but also make sure that they can do it as well. And yeah, I'm sure we'll miss this time when
Totally.
we're in a different season. Yeah.
Yeah, there's kind of this spot between doing those things that you love and passing them on to your kids and that joy, but really prioritizing their needs also and seeing when we kind of need to slow down or do something differently.
Yeah. And it feels like it can be a hard balance. Like regularly wake up at like 2:00 in the morning worrying, you know, have we chosen such an alternative life as a family centered around Hard and I's passion, which is now becoming their passion. They just love being outside and being with their mum and dad. You know, I think, is it selfish? Is it, you know, will it be good for them, or will it be harmful? And yeah, it's a balance between, you know, there is nowadays, I think people are way more aware as parents that it's really healthy to, you know, happy mum, happy children, or happy parents, happy children. But I think, yeah, it's a balance between giving them the life that we think is also really good for them and living our own life and bringing them along. But like you say, making sure that their needs are met, you know? So yeah. I guess you just have to do your best.
And I think you kind of alluded to checking in again and again. And are we doing okay? Are the kids doing okay?
Yeah.
Like, how do we need to shift this, and how is it going to look this week? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And we do try to do that. I mean, they're still very young, and, you know, and if when I overthink it, I think, oh, and they might just tell me what I want to hear. You know, if I say to them, like, you know, are you happy? Or, you know, do you want it? Because we've gone past schools, and I say, you know, would you want to go in school? And they're like, no, like, you know, and they were excited to get back in the van, and, you know, and it's our tiny wee home, and yeah, and they're totally fine. And then we have, you know, like been dragged from pillar to post since the day they were born, and we've lived in different countries, and now we're traveling, and, you know, kids are very, very resilient. I think as long as they have like solid parents, lots of love, you know, they seem to be, they're doing well, and they're happy kids.
Totally. Can you share some encouragement for moms who want to maybe do something different outside of the box, go exploring more, go climbing, you know, kind of live a dream that they're thinking about in the back of their mind? What would you say?
I think I would probably, just do it, you know, just do it. We spent a lot of time. That's my one regret. I wish that we had listened to our gut sooner, and I wish that we had, there's an element of planning But there's also a point at which you just have to say screw it. And we just, like I said, like the choice to have children, you know, people are like, it's such a cliche, isn't it? Like that there's never a good time to have children. You just kind of do it and you make it work, you know? And I think it's the same with, you know, trying to live your dream. And there's a balance between planning and having goals and trying to like, follow a path. And then, but there's also a balance between being maybe a little bit reckless, being, you know, just go for it. Because what's the worst that can happen? Like you're not going to fail if you try, you know, you'll never do it. 100% guaranteed to not do something if you don't do it, you know, but there's a chance that you might do it if you do it, you know, and there's a chance that you might succeed. And if you don't, then you just have a really good time in the in between, you know. So that's kind of always been our philosophy anyway. It seems to have worked well so far.
I love that. Thank you. Kirsty, where can people follow along and share about your films? I just went through those and they're beautiful. And to watch it's Ayla. Aya.
Yeah.
Aya and her pink sunnies in Romania. That was the cutest thing ever.
They don't even have glass in. They're literally just pink frames that I don't even know. I think my mum gave them to her with something. Yeah, she loves them. She's got our girly things, which I love. But yeah, super cute. Yeah, we film ourselves actually. I think people think that we must have like somebody along to film it, but we don't. Just documenting our climbing travels. We on YouTube at Wild Adventure Film, and there's a few videos up there. We don't film every place that we go to because obviously we want to also just be present with the kids. But what started as, I mean, when we were in Indonesia, I did the same thing. Like I documented stuff there, and with climbing, what started as I love my camera and I love documenting stuff, and I really enjoy making it into little films for the kids to watch back. They watch them back and the family watches them. But then I wanted to share them because hopefully it helps other families see that, you know, you can go out and climb, and you don't have to maybe go and live in the extreme and let's sell everything and live in a van, but you can at least go on climbing holidays and you can still do it. You can take kids, and it's not just, you know, like couples and singles that are out there. There's us out there as well, you know, families, because I needed to see it like 7 years ago when I was becoming a mum. I kind of needed that. And I think now there's pro climbers that are having babies and it's a way more spoken about and quite normalized. But certainly when I was becoming a mum like 7 years ago, at least in my circle, I wasn't really on social media the way that it is now. In my circle, it wasn't much of a thing. So yeah, I share it there, and then I pop stuff on Instagram and just at Kirsty Pardede, my personal page, and yeah, kind of document it, share it for other people.
Yeah, your words are so beautiful. I have been so encouraged.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. I'm glad then, because you're a few years behind me with the motherhood things. So yeah, if it does help, yeah, then that's really cool. And it's nice to connect with other mums, especially who are climbers or are outdoor people, or maybe just want a slightly different take on life. That's what's good about social media. I really enjoy that. I like being able to keep in touch with people that we meet on the road, and then also make, like, I always call them like pen pals. Like,
I know.
Nice to meet people. Yeah.
This. Thank you so much, Kirsty, for coming and chatting with me.
You're so welcome.
This was so beautiful, and I hope we run into you someday.
I'm sure we will. If you're coming to Europe, then we'll be around. Yeah. For sure.
Okay.
I'll hold your rope. My kids can entertain your kids. Yeah.
Let's do it. That sounds beautiful.
Yeah. That would be good.
I am so encouraged and inspired by Kirsty's chat, and I'm so thankful that I got to connect with her. If you're feeling similar, please drop her a message. She would love to hear from you, or come connect in the Facebook group with other adventurous women and mothers. I will leave the link in the show notes and with everything that we kind of mentioned if you're interested about it. Right now, I'm actually sitting in our rental car in our campground in Italy recording this, and I just want that to be an encouragement that if there's a dream, like Kirsty said, go for it. You know, maybe we don't have all the savings in the bank, but there's a way to make things possible, to reshape it for your family, and figure out that there is a way to do this. So thank you for being a part of this community. Know you're with like-minded other mamas, and that comes along with wondering, have we done the right thing? Are we crazy for dreaming and going after this? And just, you know, coming back to that spot of taking a deep breath and knowing that we know what our children need, and we can always change and adapt to what that's supposed to look like in this season. So have a beautiful day.